Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is a very special one. Since we are entering the Valentine's Day season, I'm going to talk about my favorite eyeshadow palettes for Valentine's Day. So if you're ready to see some romantic vibes here on this channel, especially today, then please keep on watching. This is in no particular order. I don't have like 10, 15 to talk about. I don't know how much I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Actually, I have top 15 palettes for you. So in no particular order, let's begin. The first palette that gives me those romantic Valentine's Day vibes is from Sigma, and this is the Cordurosa palette. I know it's not new by any means, and this video has like a mix of eyeshadow palettes from new to old to like really good staples, and this is one of my staple palettes. Like this definitely gives those like romantic vibes, and it does have like a good amount of variation. It goes from light to very deep, and it has some beautiful shimmers that absolutely makes this palette like so very special. I've done like several looks using this palette. The mattes are super blendable, super vibrant, and the shimmers are so beautiful and like sparkly. I really love that. Let's just swatch a few so that you know and understand the vibes. And those are the 4 shades from the Cordurosa palette. Really pretty and very blendable. And Sigma does like quite a bit of like sales all throughout the year, so I would definitely recommend you guys to wait for like a sale to grab this palette if you do not have it already, or do not buy. Just dig into your collection for like the similar kind of vibes, and I am sure you would love this palette. The next palette that I have to talk about is from Lauralee Los Angeles, and this is the Nudie 2 palette. This is like, oh my goodness, perfect palette for Valentine's Day. It has some beautiful rosy, pinky, like apricot kind of shades. And these 2 shades are definitely my favorite. This top down on top of anything just makes it so vibrant and magical. I really love that. So let me just swatch that. I've swatched these shades like so many times, and it has a variety of like shades and like texture in this palette. You have some like toppery shades which are like super opaque, and some beautiful creamy shimmers which we all love. So those are the 4 shades that I could swatch from Lauralee Los Angeles. You can see like these 2 are like toppery shades. These are like smooth shimmers, and the matte, look at that deepest matte. It's so smooth. It's like one swipe swatch situation. It's so beautiful on the eyes and so dimensional. I would highly recommend this palette from Lauralee Los Angeles. If you've not tried them, I feel like this palette, especially for those like romantic vibes, is perfect. Okay, now let's talk about a Natasha Denona palette, and this is the mini palette, and this is the mini love palette. I feel like out of the mini palettes that I have from Natasha Denona, this totally is like my vibes, especially for this time of the year. Like I love the addition of like purpley tones, like purpley leaning pink tones, and this duochrome is so pretty. It's like a gold to a pink flip shade, and this is also like such a smooth shimmer. And again, let's watch a lighter matte, right? Just because I've been like swatching all deeper mattes. Like that's a smooth shimmer, and then we have like a lighter lilac-y matte shade, and this is like the duochrome shade. Like look at that. It's so pretty and so vibrant. This is definitely my favorite mini palette that Natasha Denona has in her collection. So I would definitely recommend this. Okay, let's move on. The next palette is an all matte palette, but if you are like a matte heavy person, and if you're just dipping into like the eyeshadow department, I would say definitely this is a pricey palette, but it is so user friendly. If you do not want like impactful mattes and shimmers on your eyelids, and if you're into like mattes and you want to just dab into it, Hindash's Monochromance palette is really pretty. This is more of like a face and an eye palette all in one, so you can use it on the face as like a face powder, bronzer, blush, or anything on your eyes, but this definitely gives that romantic vibes. It's really pretty. I'm using this shade as my blush today, and you can see how vibrant that is. You can definitely use this like all over the face, and that's, I generally use the other palette, like the Beautopsy palette, a little bit more, just because those are like more like basic tones. But this, for this time of the year, is absolutely perfect. I love this palette, and you can like mix and match. If you are more of like an artistic person who mixes and matches shades together, this is very, very pretty. So I definitely wanted to recommend this too. Okay, let's talk about another indie brand, which you might, it's not like that popular, but it is half caked, and this is Your Eyes Only palette. This palette's quality is absolutely amazing. If you like earthy tones, not too much into like pinks, but pink leaning, I feel like this palette is perfect for you. If you want to dip tap into pinks, you can definitely have these two shades in this palette, but rest of them gives like a very neutral vibes to the eyes, but the impact is totally amazing. You can see like from like one swatch situation how beautifully these shades perform. So let me just show it to you. See, look at that, one swatch situation. Like, look at that. And it's super impactful, super bronzy, but it has this beautiful duochrome shades too, which we absolutely love. I would highly recommend this palette, especially again, if you do not want to bust into like a expensive palette, but you want those, like, I would say the shimmers of this palette is very similar to the Sydney Grace shimmers, like in the way that it is like super pigmented, super smooth shimmers, not like sparkly. So just do keep that in mind. Like, that is the formula that it reminds me of, and this palette is not expensive. I think it's like under $20, and it's super beautiful. Okay, the next palette that I have to talk about, I feel like this palette is the palette that I use the most, not only in this season, all year round. And this is the Patricia Rose palette, the Major Dimension 2 palette. And look at these tones. Oh my God, this is so pretty, so romantic, so effortless on the eyes. It definitely has those like pinky rosy tones. I absolutely love these cream shades too. I'm actually wearing these two shades on my eyes as the base of this eye look. And this is so pretty, guys. Absolutely pretty. I use this like so much in my everyday life, especially when I'm going for office. This comes in super handy, and I cannot recommend this enough. Like, the mattes are so blendable, so beautiful. It might look like very close to each other, but I would say this is like, it's super impactful, very different from each other, but especially on the eyes, when you see, like, you definitely can get some good dimension out of it. Let me just swatch a few shades. These are so smooth. Those are the mattes. The shimmers definitely would not perform well in like the swatch, just because there are different textures. As you can see, this is more of like a topper shade, but this is like a impactful shimmer, and these mattes are so blendable. But can you see like how everyday friendly it is? But if you like rosy leaning shades for like an everyday look, you absolutely would love this. Like, you know, if you saw my like ranking video for the eyeshadows that I tried, eyeshadow palettes that I tried in the year of 2022, this palette ranked really high. I would not spoil it for you if you've not seen it. I'll link it in the icons above for you guys, but this palette ranked really high. And yeah, I love this palette, absolutely. I cannot wait to see what he has for this year. I have an intuition that's going to be more like cool tone leaning, just because he doesn't have that cool tone like color story in his line. So it just feels like that would be more apt. I don't know. I'm hoping something really wearable, because I would be interested for sure. Okay, now to go with like a traditional color story of like pinks and reds for the Valentine's Day look. I feel like you cannot get better than this for the Valentine's Day. And this is from Gourmand Girls, and this is the Cecil palette. And this was in collaboration by Doodles by the Bunny on Instagram. Look at this palette and tell me if this doesn't scream Valentine's Day, I don't know what will. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. I don't know if that video is up or not, but I feel like the newest palette from Nomad, the you know, the Romeo and the Juliet palette, the pink side of the palette reminds me so much of this color story, so much of the color story. And from like the depth side of the palette, a more like darker version, it has those like, you know, the black is here, the mauve tones is here, those like the duochrome green shade is here. I feel like a lot of the shades from that palette you can achieve from this palette. Obviously there's no grays or like blues in this palette, but apart from that, I feel like everything else you definitely can achieve with this palette. So, and the quality is absolutely amazing. You definitely need to see the impactfulness of this palette because this is truly something amazing. So let me swatch this for you. Look at that red. Oh my God. And that pastel pink and that black and the duochrome pink to green flip shade and this beautiful red shimmer shade. Look at the impact and how beautiful that shade is. This palette is really, really pretty. I definitely want to do like a Valentine's Day look using this palette. I don't know when, but I definitely want to use it. Oh my God, I'm in love, love, love with this palette. Really, really pretty, and the formula is absolutely beautiful. So if you've not tried like Gourmand Girls palette, I would highly recommend their Spooked and the Ethereal palette also, because those are like my favorite shades. This palette definitely restricts you to like pinks and reds, and it also has like some bronzy tones too, but it can go from like very, very deep to like very, very light shade too. And this is like a beautiful duochrome. This is a beautiful duochrome. This bronzy shade is absolutely breathtaking. Yeah, I can go on and on about that palette. Gourmand Girls is definitely one of the brands that you need to try out if you've not tried it already, because the formula is outstanding. Okay, the next palette that I'm going to mention is a newer palette, and this is from Sugar Drizzle, and this is their Trashed palette. This is an all shimmer palette, but this is full of wearable romantic shimmer special shades. If you like multi-chromes, duochromes, but of like more of a wearable theme, I feel like you'll absolutely love it. It has some smooth multi-chromes to like absolutely beautiful shimmer multi-chromes, but it also has like some wearable tones too. This is truly, truly, truly a special palette. I actually have like a video on this palette showcasing like 3 or 4 looks on my channel. I feel like it's wonderful. Let me just show you some of the shades, because it's just truly, truly breathtaking. The tones are so beautiful. I actually swatched almost all the green shades, which if you guys know, I'm not a big fan of greens, but you can see how beautiful in dimension it is. Let me just swatch it for you. Look at the pigmentation. And good that I swatched a lot of greens so that you can see like the difference of this, the tones of greens, because some of them are really, really pretty. Like some of the shades are like so beautiful. This shade, the second one and the last one, looks very similar, but the last one has like a strong purple flip. I don't know if you can see it or not. I see like a total lavender shade. It's like a green to a lavender shifting shade. And if you can see it or not. And this is more of like a blue green, and this is like, it's a multi-chrome. It has a purple to a blue to a green shift. This is more of like an orange to a very, very light sagey green shift, but very shimmery. And this is like a very, very wearable shimmer. This palette is really, really pretty. If you want to test out Sugar Drizzle palette, I almost have like all of the palettes that Sugar Drizzle have in their collection, at least the latest ones, and I have like a video of all of these things. I'll link a few in the icons above, or else you can just give it a search and you'll definitely find it. I also am an affiliate from Sugar Drizzle, and you can use the code SMITHYSONY to save like 10% off on any of the palettes on their website, but the quality is outstanding. I also am an affiliate of Gourmand Girls, so if you want to try out any palettes from them, all of the coupon codes are going to be listed down in the description box below, so just check that out before you try and purchase if you want to save some money. Okay, let's move on. The next palette that I have to talk about is from ABH, and this is the Norvina 5 palette. You guys know how much I love my purples, and if there's a palette that has perfect purple palette, that's like a perfect purple palette, I feel like this is amazing. Like you have options, like endless options of purples, and they all look so different on the eyes that I cannot even say. Like they have some beautiful shifts and dimension, and on the eyes they're so smooth, they're so buildable, they're so dimensional. Actually, I should use this as like my Valentine's Day look. I love it. I love this palette. I love it so very much. I have like a 5 look using this palette already on my channel. I'll see how much I can link in the icons above, but this palette is absolutely beautiful. Let me actually swatch a few shades. So let's do this like white to a gold shifting shade. Let's do a few mattes because the mattes are like so amazing and so beautiful. Even though it's like a purple palette, you'll see what I say by like the dimension that this palette has. It's so pretty. It's so beautiful. Look at the beauty. Oh, look at the quality. Look at the quality. Okay, this is going up on my vanity because I need to use this more. I need to use this more. It's so pretty. Okay, I'm wearing a purple eyeshadow, but you can see how much craze I have for like purple eyeshadow. Like, yeah, how can you get bored of purple? I don't understand. If you are the one who doesn't like purple on your eyes, are we friends? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I know some people like really like greens, and if you guys are not new to my channel, you know how much I like despise greens in me. But I have fallen in love with greens this past year. I don't know who's the Smithy, but I'm absolutely loving it. Let's move on to the next palette. The next palette is also from Natasha Denona, and it is their 5-pan palette. It's not a midi palette by any means. This is their full-size palette, but in a 5-pan. It's like a quint, and this is their coral palette. I don't know if you guys can find it or not. I love and adore this palette. I use this palette like all over my face. I obviously use this as an eyeshadow palette, but I use this as like my blush, and this is my highlighter. These are some beautiful tones and very sparkly, very shimmery, and very impactful on the eyes. They're very smooth. I love Natasha Denona mattes. They just stand out to me, and these shimmers are outstanding. Let me just swatch it for you so that you see. Look at the impactfulness. It's just stunning. Look at those shades. This is more of a topper duochrome shade, the 3rd shade. And look at that red shimmer shade. And the 2nd shade is what I was telling you that I use it as a blush. And I love these tones. I love a good red eyeshadow on me. I really love. I feel like that is like so sultry looking, so sexy looking, especially for Valentine's Day. I mean, I love a good red smoky eye. Like I love it for Christmas and I love it for Valentine's Day. Like I definitely see myself like rocking a red eyeshadow, like smoky eye look with like a nude lip. I love it. Okay, let's move on to the next eyeshadow palette. This is definitely a colorful eyeshadow palette, but I feel like you can get such romantic vibes with this palette. And this is the Glamlite Michaela palette, the first palette. You know how much I love this. I absolutely love this palette. Like I feel like all of these shades can be so romantic. Why I'm not focusing, just take these shades away. Like rest, everything is so romantic. It's not that I don't like these shades, because this with this like deep chocolatey brown shade is so yummy. Even this with like this purple shade is lovely. This with the blues are really pretty. I love this palette like to another level. This is the palette that helped me fall in love with colors, especially those like pastel-y springy tones. It's so vibrant and so pretty. I actually have this manifest shade right in the center, melting the other shades. I'll get to it when I get to those palette, but look at these shades because these are something else. Swatched all almost shimmer shades. Definitely did not mean to do that. I just have one matte shade, but let me just show it to you. They are so vibrant and so impactful on the eyes. They're so sparkly too. Oh my God, I love, love, love these tones. So, so, so pretty. Like, oh my God, if you are a colorful person, if you love colors on your eyes, and if you do not have this palette, you definitely need to try it. Wait for like a sale from Glamlite, because this palette has gone on sale a lot of times, and that is when I actually grabbed this palette, and this is beautiful. You will not regret it one bit. One bit, I would say. Okay, now let's talk about another eyeshadow palette that I have on my eyes, and I'm talking about the Adept Cosmetics Heather Austin palette. This palette, again, if you've seen my ranking, you know how high this ranked, because this is some beautiful, beautiful tones, not only for Valentine's Day, but all year round. I feel like this is very, very apt for like spring and fall. And this has some beautiful shifty tones. I have Hey Y'all on my entire, like on the middle of the eyelid. On the beginning, I have like Austin shade all over it, and on the deeper side, I use the shade PaO2, and that's what I have on my eyes. I just couldn't stop using this. I really could not. And wait till you see the shifts and the shine of these shades, because they are something else. Like, she did such an amazing job with this palette. It's truly, truly, truly amazing. I have a code with Adept Cosmetics too, which is Smithy Sony, and you can save some money. But I would say if you are in the market to try some shiftiness and some impactful shimmers, you are in business with Adept Cosmetics. I absolutely love her Heather Austin palette and her Minka palette. Those are like my top favorite palettes from her. Look at the shift in the dimension. I cannot even do anything with myself. It's so pretty and so dimensional. Stop. You stop. Oh my God. Look at that. Oh my God. Look at this. Look. What? Heather just killed it out of the ballpark. It just, yeah, she just did something really, really pretty. Love it. Okay, 3 more palettes to go. The next palette that I have to talk about is this Pat McGrath palette. You cannot find this palette anymore, so I'm not going to rant too much about it. This is their mega palette that came in, not last year, last to last year. But this has some beautiful pinky tones, especially for like Valentine's Day. It's very, very dimensional, very, very pretty on the eyes, very romantic on the eyes. Especially like the top 2 rows are really, really good. Like this one definitely leans a little bit more on the green and the blue and the orange side, but these two are totally Valentine's Day appropriate. I would highly recommend this, but again, will you be able to find it? No. But if you have it in your collection, take it out for Valentine's Day. You'll not be disappointed. Okay, the last 2 palettes. The second last palette that I have to talk about is from Huda Beauty. Again, I don't think you can find this palette, so I'm going to rush over it. This is the Mercury Retrograde palette. This is just perfect for Valentine's Day. I feel like you can have some fun, but you can go muted at the same time with these shades. I love these tones so very much. You definitely will get compliments as soon as you'll wear this. These shades are so sparkly, so dimensional on the eyes, but it has like that mutedness, but like very elegantness when you wear it. It's so pretty, so pretty. I love this palette. Definitely my favorite from Huda Beauty. Last, certainly not the least, we have a palette from Melt Cosmetics, and this is the Gemini 2 palette. Again, this is deep, grungy, rosy tones. If you love grunginess, this is the palette for you. Like, obviously this is matte heavy. You need to love mattes, but Melt does mattes so beautifully that you will not be disappointed. They have some beautiful variety of shades that you will be amazed with. Like, why am I swatching only mattes? I don't know. But let me swatch a few shimmers too, just so that you see the, you know, the quality of both the eyeshadows, both the textures. But you need to love rosy tones to love this, because this is definitely a rosy palette. Look at the shimmers. And look how smooth the matte is. It's so very pretty. I've used this several times again. Another palette that ranked really high in my ranking for last year, and for a reason. I use this palette also very often on my like office looks. I feel like this is absolutely amazing quality. I have loved Melt's eyeshadow palettes. I have like 3 palettes with me from Melt right now, and there's no dud in any of the palettes that I own from them. I have their Gemini palette, I have the Gemini 2 palette, and I have their Amori Mariposa palette. Love absolutely everything that they create. So those were like my recommended eyeshadow palettes for Valentine's Day. Do let me know which are like your top 3 palettes, especially that you love to wear on Valentine's Day. And if you did like this video, you know what to do. Do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.